So I could give her an example. There's a time things are so tough in our small system. Then I remember we're sharing that I told her like we need to begin counting our blessings because we are having good health. We are having so we were counting. Then she told me, "Hey, things are tough." But I told her that what if she can testify here, and I was even telling her that I'm going to give this example. 2021, I can tell you, was the most difficult year in my family until I felt that the foundations that makes me and makes my family are shaken. In fact, what I was talking about our good health, for the first time, let me talk about what she was used to tell me. But from the point we began living together up to this, she's a type who has never been hospitalized. But 2021, she was hospitalized. Then I remember I challenged her like, now, are you seeing what we have been talking about? Good health. Because if you are talking about musotology, you can imagine now musotology plus poor health, a combination of two. I hope I'm talking a language you understand. Nobody experienced poverty 2021. Those of us who are paying school fees, you pay school fees for 4 terms. Then some of us were working with employers who are paying us 60%, my brother. Imagine. Let me tell you, some of us, we moved our children from the schools we treasure because we have seen the results to other schools painfully. You know, you transfer your child painfully. Are we there, friends? So, I think now we are reading from the same script, what I was telling her. Because from, do you know, like now when she was calling me, uh, let me call her that she's a fighter. Do you know, even when I'm down, madam, she's the encourager. But she called me very early in the morning at around 5. I was in Nairobi. I've given up. Then I said, if this lady could say she has given up, things are bad. The next thing I did is to call one member of the church and who happens to be a friend. I said, please, madam, don't ask me very many questions. Go and rush your friend to hospital. Even as she confessed by saying that if Betty has willingly accepted to go to the hospital, hey, she's very sick. What am I trying to say, good friends? We are so negative in our life, we do not count our blessings. Because I'm telling you, like that time, of course, I rushed to the hospital, I found her there. Do you know, 3 days I was going back home because she was hospitalized, but I did not realize that even our manager, the lady who works for her, she was also unwell. I came to realize that because I used to leave very early in the morning, I come very late in the evening, I found that they have slept. So I came to realize that she's sick. And all along we have been saying about the negativity. Are we there? Now we are having a double negative. My son had just gone to boarding because she was now in standard 7. Constipation was there. My father-in-law became sick. That previously that you have been saying, tunangangana. Now, when was the really kongangana began? Are we there, friends? So let me tell you, for us to interpret a situation such that we close over to the other side, which is pathological, which is now clinical depression, the marking scheme is mad. My mindset, my mindset, my belief system about the situation, the attitude, the talk I have about that situation, and the self-perception in terms of the resources that I have to deal with this situation. You know, When we are faced with a situation, the first thing you ask yourself is, would I be able to deal with this situation? If it is a financial challenge, okay, I have some money I've saved. I can rush for a loan, blah, blah, blah. Within yourself. After that, you look at like your friendship network. We talk about resources. What is within you, we call it assets. What is outside you, we call them resources. And do you know, you feel sad, you'll be able to deal with that situation, then no more sadness. But if you are unable and it overwhelms you, basically because of the negative maths, it can graduate to the negative or the pathological or the clinical depression that we are talking about. And this, I want my brothers and sisters not to answer. Why do bad people sometimes don't face some of these storms that we face? And we are good, we are in charge, we are Adventists. How come that we get these storms? Please answer me. Why do good people get the storms? Very excessive storms, very overwhelming, until you feel like, I don't know how many of us were been faced by problems to the point that you feel like you doubt God. Is this God around me? Really? I don't know how many of us during COVID time, majority of the people around you got COVID until you lost some friends and relatives. With us, we are there. That's why I'm telling you, I felt like the foundations that make me have been shaken, my brother. Stigma is real because people are looking like there's something you are not doing that they are doing that makes you to get COVID, and your network, and you are trying your best. Who can answer? And Ndieki, why do good people face challenges? We can even put good in quotes because we don't have a criteria of measuring good, but at least people who seem to have strong religious character formation.
Uh, I think let me try it from the biblical side because when we talk of good people also getting problems, the Bible tells us that when we face trials and temptations, we are strengthened in the Lord. But again, we may ask ourselves, how have we have always assumed that in church we are good and we need to be people who should not be getting those problems. But then the reality is that we are in a world of sin and we are not exempt from these problems that are facing the world. It may be that we may go to an extent that we want to question God why these things are happening. But the truth is that we are in a world of sin and we are also bound or subject to these problems that are befalling the world. I don't know whether it's something that you.
So where is God when we are facing all this? Or, Elder, are you saying that all these storms that make some of us to suffer from depression is a test of our faith? Is that what I got from you? Or we can't escape because we are living in this world? Yes, my elder. Yes. Mm. Yes.
To an expensive school you cannot afford.
Mm.
These people ate what they got from the farm and they appreciated it.
Mhm.
When I want to eat from the supermarket,
Mm.
yet I can't afford.
Mhm.
They face life with realities,
Mhm.
with more realities than our generation.
Mhm.
So is depression really a very old problem or it's a modern problem facing modern people? That's why
Mm.
even when you describe that there is want
Mhm.
of money,
Mm.
of what,
Mhm.
even rich people get depressed. People who seem to be having everything,
Yes.
a good house, a good car, a good home. You know people you admire that one day I want to look at that kind of life. They also get depressed. So
Yeah.
is depression actually a modern problem because of our lifestyles, because of what you have said, our attitudes, our perceptions, and so on and so forth?
Yes, elders given us another question that we need to be able to understand. You see, we are understanding the elephant. We want to get a comprehensive understanding of the elephant that we talked about. Of course, the answer depression is not a modern condition. Yeah, we have been given empirical evidence. Look at what Job went through. Look at what David went through. In Psalms, we see what David is talking about. Yes. So that is the question. How did they deal with it? A very good example, we see Jesus, even himself as a human being crying, my God, take this cup from me. So the answer is depression has not begun with us. So how have they dealt with the situations that faced them? That is the question that we need to answer, such that we learn from their experiences. We learn from their experiences. So we are having very biblical examples, very many biblical characters who have gone through a lot. A very good example is Job. Job reached a point where even the wife could say, "Excuse me, this God of yours." You see, now it is not even the wife was not owning up. This God of yours. So please, we want to understand how did they deal with it, such that we can learn something from there. My brother Kev.
Thank you, Brother John, for the opportunity. Now, our Brother John has asked a very complicated question, a question that people have attempted to answer over the ages, and there's no answer.
Mm.
Why do good people suffer? You know, that one is a mystery. But then we can attempt to answer that by saying, just paraphrase from the Bible character that we have just mentioned, Job.
Mm.
In the book of Job, chapter 1, when the sons of God came before the throne of God, Satan also came with them.
Mhm.
That's what the Bible says. And God asks him, "What have you been? Where have you been? That I've been walking up and down,
Mhm.
like claiming dominion of this planet." And indeed, it was ours initially, but we ceded, we lost it to him
Mhm.
when we sinned. And so, because of our presence in this planet, where we are subject to the devil's temptation, sometimes God allows us to go through those crucibles, just like Elder Ndeki was saying. Sometimes God does not tempt us. God allows the tempter to tempt us. But we also read in the Bible that he gives us the grace to be able to overcome those kind of temptations. Now, coming back to the point of discussion, depression. Indeed, even the people of old used to get depressed.
Mm.
Now, how they were managing it has got to do with how close they were with God. Even us, our trust in God, only that which will allow us to overcome temptations.
Mm.
And all those factors that lead into depression. I was sharing with someone over lunch hour that this depression comes in many, many ways. It can even start with work burnout.
Mm.
Then it develops into anxiety. Before you know it, I know you're going to tell us that. You go deeper and deeper and deeper. Then,
Yeah.
But then the fact that we are Christians who believe in God, we believe that our God is able. That should enable us to even manage those stressors before they develop into depression. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Another person who wants to add something? Sister Mary, share with us. This is your area. And your neighbor. Mm.
Where they were saying that Christians are happier than those who are not, because there's that trust in God. When you face circumstances, you usually say, God allowed it for a reason. And then when we say it's for my growth, when you say He allowed it for my growth, then it becomes positive. And when it's positive, then it is possible for you now to release it. I think there are those statistics, I'm sure you know them, that even in many Christian marriages, people are happier because of where you take your burdens. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I want to concur. Then I will give Elder. Yes, Elder. Mhm. Yes. Yes. Mhm.
The chambers.
Yes.
They're the ones who came out because they had hope, they had faith in God.
Mhm.
So as Christians, we should be the ones leading.
Yeah.
As examples when it comes to overcoming anxieties, stress, and so on and so forth. So I
Yes.
really want to agree with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, to reinforce, because we said we want to use it as a learning point that it is true research, and you can practically talk about it, that people are spiritual, even their outlook of life is slightly different. They always see beyond the storm. They always see beyond the season of suffering, because at least they have. That's why we're talking about the mindset. They have the mindset that there is something beyond the normal suffering. So I want to agree with you, and that is why we were talking about that. We can't avoid the situations that can create a fertile ground for depression. And we are having two areas. There's the normal area of feeling sad, and there's the pathological side of feeling sad, which we are calling depression. So what is this that is in me that makes me to change from the normal to the, allow me to use the word abnormal? That is what we are talking about. So what is coming out from the contribution of my brother and sister and others is there's always a spiritual dimension on how to deal with depression. And that is what Pastor told us in the morning. That God gives power to the fainted. Somebody to read for me Psalms 34. Psalms 34 from verse 17. Psalms 34, verse 17. From 17, I think, to around 19. Psalms. Yes, Wyatt?
Psalms 34 from verse 17. The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears, and delivers them out of all their troubles. The Lord is near to those who have a broken heart, and saves such as have a contrite spirit.
Please read for that one loudly. The Lord is near those who are heartbroken. Let us read also the verse that we read in the morning. Let's go back to Isaiah. I think it was Isaiah 40, 29. Isaiah 40, 29. There's something we are learning from there. What does it say? 40, 29 from 29.
Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29.
Yes.
And it says,
Yes.
He gives power to the weak, and those who have no might, He increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint.
I want us to underline the word given power. Then I want you to underline, I'm crazy with animals. What does it say? Something that is talking about the ego. Please read that line that is talking about the ego. The line that is talking about the ego, and we see some of the characteristics of the ego. Ego is a very powerful imagery that is used in the Bible that we need to understand what it means.
They shall mount up on wings like eagles. They
Yes.
shall run and not be weary.
Yes.
They shall walk and not faint.
They shall soar like the eagle. I want us to understand that we can't run away from the storm. We can't run away from the storm. We can't run away from the storm. And these are some of the characteristics of the ego that we need to understand, that when we are faced with a challenge, because the situations will be there. And I'm telling you, situations that can bring excessive sadness. As my brother put it, elder, we are living in this world. The response that you give based on your maths, based on your mindset, based on your attitude, based on your talk, based on your self-perception, we need to be like eagles. An ego is one of the imagery that is used strongly in the Bible. These are the characteristics of the ego that we can learn, and in fact, we can say those who have overcome aspect of depression, they are behaved like the ego. The ego is this kind of animal, all bad, that has a very strong vision. We are told that the ego can be able to see the debris from around 3 kilometers away. So, my brother or sister, that storm that is in your life, I don't know whether I'm the only one. Sometimes when you are faced with excessive storm, it even brings your relationship with God closer. Because do you know, you feel helpless to the point you feel that it is only God who can take me away from this. So have a strong vision like the ego to see opportunities than the challenges. So one strong thing that we need, echoing what Pastor said in the morning, that God gives the strength such that we soar like the eagle. What is the meaning of the word soaring? I don't know how many of us were very keen when we were young. Soaring means is when the knee is not flapping. When the eagle is flying, it's not flapping, but it is moving without flapping. That is the soaring that we are talking about. Are you there? But the ego took that advantage. When there was the storm, that is the time it was flapping the wings. Then it made the storm, made it to fly high. Now it is able to move. So sometimes let us have a positive attitude, a positive mindset, a positive talk, a positive self-perception, such that we will have a strong vision like the ego to deal with our storm. The second aspect of the storm, of the ego. Remember, we are looking at the imagery of the ego. The ego is a very good nurturer. I don't know, my brother, you call it that. It's only that that word has disappeared. Some birds, they eat food. I think after a process has happened, they will vomit that food to their young one. But the ego does not do that. Which word is that? There's a word for it. Where, like, the bird will go and consume whatever it has consumed, it goes to the, how do you call it? Not the gizzard, how do you call it? It's the crop. And then I think after that softened, it will come and vomit it to the young one. The ego does not do that. Is among the few birds that does not do that. Then another thing is the ego is a good nurturer in the sense it gives comfort to the young one in the earlier days. But when the right time has come, I think they talk about 10 weeks. In fact, it will take the young one away and throw it, such that it can learn to fly. The ego is a good nurturer in this sense. When they realize that the young one is not learning to fly, do you know what it does on the nest? It will replace the nest from that cotton, like it will put the thorns, such that when the young one is coming to be comfortable, it is no longer comfortable. The parents were here. Are we egos? Do you know we have created babies in the name of young adults in our children? Eh? I want to give an example. The other day we were taking our daughter to Masai Mara University, and I saw madam buying a lot of unga. Then I wonder, you buy unga? Hey, 10 kg. I'm sure that one would get spoiled. Yesterday, as we were talking, he told me Rita has only cooked once. And I think they've been in campus for around 3 weeks. The parents were here. It's only that the elders gone. But I have elders here. Elder, you remember the way you were trained. But do you know what we say? We don't want our children to suffer the way we suffered. A poor Najara. And you expect them to face the storm. Am I talking to my brothers and sisters here? We expected them to face the storm. Another good quality of the ego that I want us to copy from the ego, such that we put it in us when we face the storm, as our first Isaiah 40 was saying, the ego is one of the parts who love their life. When they reach 30 years and they realize that they are getting old, they go to the mountain top to remove away the old fetters such that the new ones can grow. Am I having old people here? Those who are 50 floor and above. I'm there. Can we raise our hands? 50 floor and above. Do you know we have carried what I can call the second source of stress in our lives? Because if Oteo has done the best to educate, for example, Rita. Rita has gone to campus. Rita is 25 years old. Rita is 28 years old. Still, my head is asking here, did John eat? Whether he ate or not, is that your business, an adult? There's one of the clients that was brought to me, 32-year-old. They are fighting with the mother because he's putting loud reggae music in the apartment which the mothers built. They are staying there. The tenants are complaining. Do you know what I call Kevo? Kevo utahama lini? Because surely, because I asked Kevo, when did your dad marry? He was 31. When did your mother get married? He was 27. Utahama lini? And you know, that young man was working in Kenyatta University in the ICT department. Working, staying with the mom, putting loud music, disturbing tenants who wants to move. You are 32 years old. Of course, we are not talking about forcing them to marry. If you want to marry, marry. If you don't want to marry, stay. But utahama lini? $54 and above, let us be eagles. Are we there? I can divine the developmental stage of a person this way. The first phase, we were taken care of. Yes. We are, like me, I'm taking care of them. I wish one time I begin taking care of myself. But you know, we don't grow. We were taken care of. We take care of people, and we want to go back to be taken care of. Elder, Chibange. Are we there, friends? So one way that we can deal with our storms is to be the eagles. That we have been told that they are soaring. Another quality of the ego is it does not eat leftovers. It eats what is fresh. In fact, it hunts and takes what is fresh. It doesn't, it is not a vulture. Majority of us, we have lived in our past. Some of us, if we begin sharing here, we have a very crooked past. But we have overstayed talking about our yesterday. We are not dealing anything with the future or the present or the future. Also, those who are in 50th floor, you remember this song that was very favorite song nowadays, Dolly Parton. Tomorrow is there forever. Remember that song? Take my hand. Yesterday is what? Yesterday is gone because what is this that can you change? The other day I was sharing with Madam, I said, what I wanted to achieve, I've achieved. If I didn't get it, let me move to the next level. Are we there? Because there are years we need to accept that we did our best in the past. There's nothing much. We did our best. If we didn't do it, we make a correction and move to the right path.